Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of the Newland News Network. I am, of course, your host, Sean Newland, and just wanted to get into some things today. There's been a lot of new news breaking out, and just needed to come out and let you know what's going on. So, going to talk about a few things today. First of all, I do want to say that everyone in the Southeast, I hope you're all fine and well and have power and are warm. I just want to get that out of the way first. So I just wanted to say that. But yeah, so today I've caught up on some of the news that were breaking this morning, and there's been a couple of broadcasts, I guess I should say, with Kristi Noem, for one, who was the, what do you call her? I guess she's the head of ICE. I forget what the title is, but yeah, basically she's the head of ICE. And also Greg Bavino, the so-called wannabe Nazi, cosplay Nazi guy that walks around with his SS trench coat and German World War II haircut. It's just so obvious what they're doing and their ideologies. I mean, it's right in your face. So again, I still sometimes struggle trying to understand how people who I thought were red-blooded Americans can now be okay with this regime, this Nazi-esque regime that we are dealing with right now. It just amazes me. I thought that all Americans were under one accord, at least when it came to Nazis. I thought we all knew that you're supposed to punch Nazis in the face on sight. But yeah, things are changing, I guess. But anyway, I wanted to show you a couple of clips today and have a little bit of discussion on what they've been coming out and saying about Alex Preddy in regards to the murder that took place in Minneapolis over the weekend, and how they came out and said that this guy, and they did the same with Renee Good, before any kind of evidence was collected. They had come out and just said out the gate that these are domestic terrorists before any information. And then once more information comes out, as happened in the last couple of days, and they can see that their narrative is totally false because it's evident in the video footage that there was never ever any threat to those ICE agents before they shot him cold blood in the street. So now they walked it back and they're saying, well, we're going to kind of wait and see how things come out and investigate. You can't walk it back once you've already called this man a domestic terrorist. And how can you call him that and not know anything? Can you imagine how his family feels having first to deal with a dead family member who was killed in such a way, a brutal way, in such a fashion that is just terrible? Not only did their loved one in their final moments have fear and was being roughed up and disrespected and then shot, not only did they have to understand that that's what caused their family member's death in a horrific way, they now are blaming him for his own death. How heartless can you be? Calling him a domestic terrorist.
Did the 37-year-old who had a license to carry, did he brandish a gun? And at what point did law enforcement retrieve the gun and also the magazines from him? Can you offer clarity on
This
where
individual
those were found?
showed up to impede a law enforcement operation and assaulted our officers. They responded according to their training and took action to defend the officer's life and those of the public around him. And I don't know of any peaceful protester that shows up with a gun and ammunition rather than a sign. This is a violent riot when you have someone showing up with weapons and are using them to assault law enforcement officers.
Okay, you see, folks, that is patently false and inaccurate. She is just trying to place blame on Alex Preddy well before they had any kind of facts. They wanted to push this narrative so bad. And, you know, of course, this narrative came from the White House. And there's evidence of that. Just watch this.
individual approached U.S. Border Patrol
US Border
officers
Patrol agents
with a 9mm semi-automatic handgun.
semi-automatic handgun.
The officers attempted to disarm this individual, but the armed suspect reacted violently. Fearing for his life and for the lives of his fellow officers around him, an agent fired defensive shots. Medics were on the scene immediately and attempted to deliver medical aid to the subject, but he was pronounced dead
at the scene.
The suspect also had 2 magazines with ammunition in them that held dozens of rounds. He also had no ID. This looks like a situation where an individual arrived at the scene to inflict maximum damage on individuals and to kill law enforcement.
One interesting point there that they mentioned, if you heard, that he didn't have any ID on him. At no point during or leading up to this altercation did anyone ever ID him. Only after the fact, after they searched his lifeless body, did they see that he had no ID on him. So therefore, they are going to cause that to be where he went wrong. It's against the law to carry a weapon without identification, which is a $25 fine. It's nothing. And they act as if that was the reason or the justification for him being shot. That is just them searching for something that they can pin on the guy after the fact to make it seem justifiable. They think you're stupid. And a lot of you are because you're falling for it. But I'm not stupid. I know what policemen and law enforcement people do when they do something illegal. They try to set it up to make it seem that you were the offender. You were a criminal. When what he did was nothing against the law, other than not having an ID with a weapon. He was perfectly legal to carry his weapon, folks. I thought that you were all proponents of the Second Amendment, but only when it helps you out. Only when it is applied to your right to shoot people. But when the opposite, and he didn't even shoot anyone. That's the thing. He didn't even brandish it. He never, from what I could tell, ever put his hand on his gun. And you all can see, I'm pretty sure you can all see the video. If you're looking at the video and you're not coming up with the same conclusion that most sane people have, even Republicans, because there's been a lot of blowback from the Republicans as well who think that ICE needs to be reeled back some. Your people, yet you're so rabid and caught up in identity politics, and you treat this like Monday Night Raw, as if that there is a protagonist and an antagonist, and it's that simple. It's black and white, and you're on one side, and you can't see gray. I don't get that. That's how caught up you are to be on your side. I can be critical of my side. People who are making fun of Charlie Kirk, that was wrong, and I can call that out. I don't have a problem with that. You say something about Biden, I don't care. I could be critical of my side. You cannot do that. And I'm pretty sure Stephen Miller is not going to apologize to Alex Preddy's family, as he should, for calling their son or their beloved family member a domestic terrorist before any evidence was provided at all. And you did the same with Renee Good. If the other side, the Biden administration, let's say, for instance, did any of this, you guys would lose your shit. You would go batshit crazy over these things, over this this over policing. And what if he targeted Republican cities or states that voted Republican, which is what Donald Trump is doing in the opposite? You would lose your shit. You guys are being intellectually and emotionally dishonest. If you are okay with what you're saying, you're only okay with it because it's coming from your side. And you see this as a team sport and not about America. It's just about your side winning, owning the libs, sticking it to the libs. That's all you care about. No matter the collateral damage. I don't understand. I guess I shouldn't be surprised though. I mean, our education levels are or our system is poor. There's so many of Americans who could not even find South America on the map or Canada, and you're okay with being ignorant. I see things on my social media feed, and it just makes me lose all hope for humanity. Some of the memes you share, you think it's very funny. It doesn't bother me. It just, shows me what you guys really are. And your side thinks it's okay to be evil, as if it's okay to go for the villain in some type of a movie. This isn't a movie. This is real life, people. This is real life you're playing around with. You're going to have kids. You're going to have future generations who are going to live in a world where you've allowed corruption to run amok. And you're doing them a disservice. You got to think about that. Just because you're so infatuated with winning and being for Trump and beating your chest over being a conservative because you think that makes you manly for some reason. Being evil and uncaring and America first and no one else matters at all. You think that makes you look manly. But as we know, most times people who go extra mile to look manly really underneath are not, and they're fighting something. It's the new beard. I call it being MAGA is the new beard, because look at how many of these MAGA people end up being child molesters, pedophiles, just criminals. If ICE really wanted to take away the worst of the worst, you would start first with these low-life pieces of shit that are mainly your base. That's who you need to go after, really. That's who the domestic terrorists should be. Not Antifa. Not people who protest. See, the thing is, and I'm sorry, I digress quite a bit, but the thing is that you are hoping that this is a warning for people to not protest, because you're making it seem as though he was responsible for his own death because he was out there and he happened to have a gun on him. But that's totally legal. You can bring a gun to a protest. That's fine. It's just like you're just being a hypocrite because you guys take guns everywhere. You can't even go inside a coffee shop without your guns. And you're so Second Amendment until, like I said, it's not in your favor. You don't want the left to carry guns. You want to be the only ones to carry guns. That's the whole issue. But you really don't want us to protest. And you want us to say, hey, look what happens when you do. You guys are going to get killed. So you want us to just lay down and let you do whatever you want to do to us and not have any kind of opposition. That's what this whole thing is about. You're killing protesters and blaming it on them being a protester. I've seen so many people say, well, what was he doing out there? You have the right to protest. You have the right to bear arms. And he legally did so. He had a concealed carry permit. What's the big deal? That does not make you a terrorist. Oh, he had 2 magazines. This is the same party who doesn't feel like there's a problem having AR-15s and plenty of ammo to go with it. But now he had a pistol and 2 magazines, and that makes him a threat. I remember a couple years ago, these federal buildings. I want to say maybe of Michigan. I want to say it could have been Portland, Oregon. I want to say these federal agencies, and these militiamen would show up there and intimidate the law enforcement there with their guns and all of that, and they had the right to do so, and no one said anything at all. And me, I was like, wow, look at that. How are they able to go out there and talk shit to the policemen, have their guns on them, and they were somewhere illegal that they shouldn't have been, I think, but it was a standoff for like days and days. They followed the rule of the law when it comes to policing themselves. And the thing is, the policemen and the militia, they're the same guys. So of course they're going to be very, very sentimental to the militia, just like the policemen and some of those guards that you want to call them during January 6th that just allowed those people to walk right through. They were also sentimental to their movement. And they're probably like, go ahead, go get them, go get them. Why? Because they're the same people. Mostly people who like to be in law enforcement are, and I'm not going to say all, because there's a lot of good cops, of course. But a lot of them only want to join the force because it's going to give them the authority to hurt people that they don't like. So the people who were there that was supposedly to be keeping the Capitol safe, those Capitol Police, they didn't put up much fight. There was that one black guy that once those protesters or whatever rioters broke inside, that one black policeman or guard, whatever he was the bravest of them all. He took on a bunch of bloodthirsty, white, racist, supremacist people with weird crap on their head, those horns. He led them away. He in the face of all of that hate, white anger, is black man. It's very symbolic if you think about it. This black man saved other white people. They wanted to hang Mike Pence. If they had found Mike Pence, I don't know what would have happened. But that black policeman, he led them out. He made them think that they were going the right way when they weren't. He thought on his toes. It just goes to show how black people, how we do amazing things, and how if it wasn't for us in this country, which we came here not on our own will, but we're here, and look at how much we've done for this country. It's very understated. And what saddens me, and again, like I said, I digress, but what saddens me is the removal of all of these African American history artifacts or statues and plaques that you've seen them removing. For what reason, I don't know. And again, these things make me really question why there is a black MAGA. If there is a black MAGA, there is also black people who do not like themselves. Point blank, period. If I'm wrong, prove it. Prove it to me. You can't. You won't. But anyway, I got more clips to show you. So watch this.
And there's no evidence, unless you have it, and we'd love to see it if there is, that he was intending to massacre law enforcement, other than the fact that he was there and he had a gun lawfully.
He meant to be there beforehand. Again, Dana, he came there beforehand.
How do you know that?
For a reason.
How do you know that?
Because he was there.
But all he was doing was filming and documenting it, which is legal. He was carrying a gun, which in Minneapolis.
I didn't say it wasn't. And I didn't say it wasn't legal.
So then what did he do that was illegal?
Assault federal law enforcement when he does that. That's an active law enforcement crime scene.
Where do you see in the video that he was
decided to enter into?
Where do you see in the video that he was assaulting law enforcement? Because from everything we have seen, law enforcement was assaulting him.
Thank you so much, guys, for watching me. I appreciate you, each and every one of you who took your time out to watch me today. If you like what you hear and see, if you could please drop a like and please subscribe. Thank you. Have a great day.